There's just so many times where I'm not doing the active listening and I'm not responding with what I think I heard you say. And then, whether it's a staff member, my partner, a client, whatever the case may be, the conversation's over. There wasn't a who, what, when, where established, right? But even worse for me, I find myself going, I'm not even sure what the point of that conversation is, and I don't remember half of it. And that's really bad. I needed to be a better listener, but then to go that step further is what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
With all right, we had this conversation. Next step.
The three W's there. And that happens, by the way, that happens to all of us, where we walk out of that conversation and go, sometimes it can be frustrated because I wasted the time or because I wasn't on my game. So I didn't do a good job of engaging. But when you get to that final point, and here's the habit that we want you to inject into, and we'll talk about practice in a little bit. It really is simply to clarify who is doing what by when. What you follow up then with, and some companies do this a little more aggressively to make it a public accounting, and other companies do this on the sly where we just assume and the manager takes care of those individual 3 W's to make sure that they're done. But if you really want to push accountability and you really want it to be explicit accountability, you bring it to the table. And those are the first things. Before we start our next meeting, here's the list of 12 things that were to be done. And here's everybody who accomplished those things. Do it without, and there's another point of this that we talked about with the active listening. If you can do it without validation or criticism, in other words, castigating someone or throwing them under the bus, what's important is the culture, the accountability culture, where we have clear expectations that things are supposed to be done when we say they're going to be done. And this is where it gets challenging for a lot of business owners who care about people, because they don't want to be that harsh. But if you sacrifice that, what some people would call a kindness, right? If you give kindness to someone who doesn't do what they are clear, if you get really good at this and expectations are clear and the person isn't showing up and meeting those expectations, then you've got some decisions to make. Then your team has some decisions to make about whether they're in the right role, whether they're the right person for the job, or whether they just need training or coaching. Maybe you haven't given that person the right tools to do their job right.
Yeah. And you talked a little bit earlier, you used one of my favorite words, we.
Yeah.
So if you're constantly using we, you're building some accountability. You're saying me and you, or us as a team. But then additionally, just you don't, just to repeat kind of what you said, you don't have to be a jerk to hold people accountable, to set an expectation at all. You can still be kind and set an expectation. You don't got to change who you are as a person to be that nice, kind person, but you do have to set up the expectation in advance, because it's an advantage to them. Now they know what's expected of them. If they keep coming back to you and not delivering on what your expectation is because you didn't tell them what that expectation is, you're getting more and more frustrated, but you're still being kinder and kinder. You are enabling what is happening, and they don't even know they're doing anything wrong. They still think they're like, man, I rock at this job.
Yeah, I'm kicking it, man. Rock on.
Just like, and even if I turned it in like 3 days later, I thought they said Wednesday. I gave it to them Friday, and they still said great job. This is I love this job. They're not going to be the. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's that culture piece, right? When your culture is set up correctly, and the rules of the game are that we hold each other accountable because we love each other, because we want each other to succeed, because we want each other to grow into the role, then I can be on the same side of the desk as you, right? I'm not here sitting across from you going, here you go again, Drake, you're not getting it done. Here was the accountability. Here was the execution on the accountability. Tell me what happened. Let's talk about it. How can I help you next time? And you can support and coach them up to get there. It doesn't mean everybody's going to have to be there, by the way.